You're still listening to Trade FM's Breakfast Business Briefing, your trusted source for business intelligence, economic analysis, policy conversations, and real-time insights analysis, policy conversations, and real-time insights shaping industries, enterprises, and national development across Nigeria and beyond. I am Splendor Ayiwo. Now, over the past decade, one of the most visible drivers of financial inclusion in Nigeria has been the rapid growth of the point of sale, popularly known as the POS sector. What began as an alternative payment channel has evolved into a nationwide ecosystem, supporting millions of daily transactions and providing banking services to communities where traditional financial institutions remain limited or inaccessible. Today, POS operators have become an essential part of Nigeria's financial architecture, helping individuals withdraw cash, transfer funds, pay bills, receive payments, and conduct business transactions quickly and conveniently. But alongside this remarkable growth have come increasing concerns, from disputes over transaction charges and liquidity shortages to issues surrounding agent regulations, customer protection, competition, fraud risks, market practices, and the overall sustainability of the sector. Tensions are imagined within an industry that many Nigerians now rely on daily. Questions are also being raised about the future of financial inclusion, the relationship between operators and financial institutions, regulatory oversight, digital payment adoption, and the challenges facing agents operating in an increasingly competitive environment. As Nigeria continues its transition to a more digitally driven economy, understanding these realities has become more important than ever. Joining us this morning virtually is Comrade Odetunde Olawale. He is the National Chairman, Agency and Mobile Banking Operators, a unit of NUBIFIE with extensive experience in agency banking, digital financial services, grassroots financial empowerment, and financial inclusion policy implementations. Today we are discussing inside Nigeria's POS sector, rising friction between operators and market practices. Comrade Olawale, good morning and welcome to Trade FM's Breakfast Business Briefing.
Yeah, good morning, Trade FM. Nice meeting you. Good morning. I'm happy having you here today. Thank you very much.
What are the major challenges currently facing POS operators across Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity given to us as a representative of POS operators in Nigeria nationwide. And when we talk of challenges, there are a lot of challenges facing the sector. And it is unfortunate that the government are only reaping the benefit that is in the industry. They are not looking at the challenges and the problems and how it can be solved for those operators. There are a lot of problems and challenges, like I said. We have operational challenges, we have policy challenges, and of course, CBN rollout will formulate a lot of policies to sanitize, to efficiently operate, and what have you in the sector. But in terms of implementation, they are not considering those on the field, those on the rural area, those in the rural area, those on the field that will carry out those policies, that will make those policies to be effectively implemented. They are not looking into those people very well. Like I said, operational challenges. A lot of transactions will be hanging. A lot of course, government is rolling out a cash policy to reduce the circulation of cash in the society, but that does not mean that there shouldn't be availability of cash to the agents, to the operators that needs money to operate. So the policy are not consistent. There is a policy today, before you know it, another policy comes tomorrow. So many of us are just operating in like a shadow. We don't really know what policy are we really working on. And like in many places, I always let people understand that the challenges that are facing in the banking law is the same challenges our members are also facing, either in the rural area either on the field. When banks are trying to avoid frauds, the operators, the agent, faces fraudster every day. When banks are trying to avoid armed robbers, operators on the field in the rural area face armed robbery cases all the time. Just name it, even bandits. And aside that, some of these even bandits or the kidnappers, they're also making use of some of these POS agents rather. So the challenges are too enormous that need to be, that it cannot really, because CBN are not looking at the operators. Before you can make a policy, before you formulate a policy, why can't you consult those that are on the field, those that are operating it, those that are using it? They are just doing on the round table policy without considering those that are in the operational sector of that unit. So there are a lot of challenges. So thank you.
Okay. Now, how are these practices affecting the profitability and sustainability of POS businesses?
The practice and sustainability,
how are these practices affecting the profitability and sustainability of POS businesses?
Yes, like we all know, POS operation or operators has come to stay in Nigeria. And it is, if not one of the foremost, it should be the second largest employer of labor in Nigeria today. With that alone, government needs to ensure that there is a sanity, there is standardization, and there is organization properly in the sector. Profitability in the industry is becoming challenging because there are a lot of bottleneck in policies, implementation, like tax, federal government tax, VAT, on tax, VAT, transactional charges. A lot of charges are there. And even to get money for the operation is another challenges that are hitting terribly on the profitability of the operators. To the extent that some garages, some bus stop, some motor park, they will need to be exchanging cash for money for our members because they cannot easily get to the bank and get money to sustain their business. And if these people are not well taken care of, it will lead to a lot of unemployment, because this is the area that government needs to concentrate on and see, like I said, and see how they can standardize it so that it can be well sustained and it can be more employable for anyone to participate in. Of recent, like a year now, CIBS, Chartered Institute of Bankers, has introduced a professional exam in this area. That is to see that there is a program going on to sustain the sector. But government still need to work on the policy. The policy is killing the sector. Major policies from the CBN is killing the sector. And if care is not taken, it will lead a lot of people to unemployment. So thank you.
Okay, now that you've mentioned the policy from the CBN, how have recent regulatory changes by the Central Bank of Nigeria impacted POS operators?
Yes, it's impacting, like I've said earlier. The policy is really impacting on the POS operators, but it will kill the sector if care is not taken. Like there is a recent policy, there are some policies that just roll out now. Let me just mention a few. There is what we call single principal exclusivity. the single principal exclusivity, if although it has not taken effect effectively, but in the next couple of months, in the few months to come, it will be effectively taking place. But if that policy to take place, it is like a policy that is being formulated to favor one side of the sector against the other. How do I mean? When you are now advising that a POS operator, once you have registered with one particular POS company, be fintech, be bank, you cannot have another terminal from another network. Like for instance, if I have a terminal, if I'm an agent to company A, I have no choice than to remain in company A, even if their system, even if their whatever is not good for operation, their charges, their network, their customer service is not good for operation. The policy is now telling me that I have no choice than to remain there. I can't go for another terminal from terminal B to get another terminal from terminal B, which is not, that means there is no choice of operation, there is no choice of partnership. I have to be restricted. If that policy continue or effectively in operation, it will gradually kill the sector. And many of us that are the association and the union, we are looking around it. Discussion has been going on how we can reach out to CBN to review some of those policies. Like geofencing, another policy is geofencing and allocation of agent. To me, or to us at NUBIFIE, we subscribe to that. It is okay by us because the agency is so polluted. It's so polluted that within there's no distance between one agent and the other, and it's because there was no strict regulation. Now, if the regulation is coming in this area, I think it's fine. It's fine. There should be distance. There should be gap. There should be gap between one operator to the another. The gap, and I think the last policy, the one I read last, I think it was 10-meter radius. That is the gap between one agent to the other. It is one radio. And another policy in that CBN policy that is also welcomed by every one of us is this area of any agent without a standard office. The minimum requirement should be kiosk. You should have a kiosk. We should have a kiosk, not umbrella. We're not talking of umbrella. And this is one of the reasons why we support this idea, this geofencing and location. You will see that in all our motor parks, you will see POS walking around like they are selling kuli, or like they are selling popcorn, or like they are selling biscuit in our motor park. That is not an ideal financial practice. A POS operator should have a standing place where anyone that wants to do any cash transaction, any financial transaction, can just walk into that particular location, either an office or a kiosk location, do your transaction and leave. So if anything happens, you can easily trace that person back to that area. So the policy, the CBN policy in that area is also good. But the area of transaction charges, 100 naira on every 10,000 naira or 20,000 naira above, or 500 naira or 50 naira, CBN need to review those things. Because if they are not properly reviewed, it will kill the sector. Like I said, it will kill the sector. And once that sector is killed, then there will be a lot of unemployment, graduate and undergraduate out there that are taking this opportunity of agency banking to level up. So, and another policy that is also killing the transaction, that is also killing that can also kill the agent is transactional limit. I operate in the oil producing area, as in market area or in a highly financial sector that is far away from bank, and you are telling me as an agent that my limit should be 1.2 million naira per day, 1.2 million naira per day, and whereby a business transaction can consume a whole lot of that. Then that means if I have exceeded my limit by 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning, I will close shop. I won't transact again. All those policies need to be reviewed. CBN need to call those of us that are practitioners, that are operating these terminals in various locations. They need to call us and hear from us. Hear our own opinion. Let us have a table discussion before any policy should be rolled out, without considering the people at the grassroots, the people in the rural area, the people at the semi-rural areas. So that is it.
Okay. Earlier, you mentioned transaction charges and commissions. Now, what role do transaction charges and commission structures play in the tensions within the sector?
Please, can you come back?
Okay, so I said earlier you spoke about transaction charges and the commission. So I'm asking, what role do transaction charges and commission structures play in the tensions within the sector? Can you?
Yes, there is a must. It is a must to have charges and commission. They are two different things. Commission is what goes to how will I put it? It's what goes to, let me say, the agent. While charges is what goes to the bank and the fintech company on every transaction carried out. Like, for instance, now there is no even standard charges. There is only standard fee from CBN. What do I mean by standard charges? Some company A might charge 0.5% on every transaction. 0.5% on 1,000 naira is 5 naira. Why some company will charge 0.7? Why some company will charge 0.8? No one charge less. Those charges, as we call it, goes to either the bank, the fintech, or the microfinance, or the PSB, payment system
Providers.
Settlement, PSB. Why the commission is the benefit, residual benefit that goes to the agent or the super agent. That is not the challenge for now, and that is not even the CBN challenge. It is the challenge between the company and the agent and the super agent. That should be an in-out. But what concerns what concerns the agent and the operators, the super agent and the agent, is the transaction charges. Now, the CBN policy says there will be 50 naira charges. There will be 50 naira VAT on every transaction above, I think, 10,000 naira. That is too high. That is too high. That charges is too high. So does it mean that if I carry out 10,000 naira, like on a multiple of 50 times in a day, multiply by that 5 naira or 50 naira on only me alone. So like that 50 naira need to be reviewed. It is called VAT, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, the VAT, yes.
It's too much. It is too much. It needs to be reviewed. Especially, it needs to be reviewed on the agency platform. On the agency sector, it needs to be reviewed. Because that alone has taken away all our profitability, all our profit. That alone has taken away all our profit. Without considering the staff cost, without considering the logistics of sourcing for cash, without considering the bank statement, bank charges, because bank will still have their own in-house charges on all of these things. And there's no way we can increase our charges to our customer, because we are human beings. We are living in the same society. We know the hardship in the country. So our charges on 100 naira, on 50 naira, we find it difficult to increase it to 200 naira to be at a safer side. And for us to be at a very reasonable profit oriented operation, we must charge 200 naira per 50 naira. Per 5,000 naira. 200 naira per 500 naira. But we look at the hardship in the society. We can't do that. It's either we remain at 100 naira that has been in the practice for the past 4 or 5 years, or in some area like Lagos, they say it's 150. They charge 150. But the cost of living, or the cost of running businesses in Lagos State is far higher in some areas. And there's no light. You need to fuel your tank to charge all this stamina, or you power your solar before you do all these things. So government, CBN in particular, they are not looking at these people that are carrying out this operation. And what government is generating from this agency platform, they need to be properly looking into. They need to be properly taken care of. They need to be properly considered. Because the CBN policy is killing, and it needs to be reviewed. They need to call us, all the association and the union. We should have a roundtable talk meeting with them before they formulate any policies. And yet they've not done that. They are just rolling out policy, armchair policy. We call it armchair policy because you don't know what is happening in the market, in the grassroots. You don't know how many of them get to the rural area where the financial inclusion need to be properly implemented. None of them is there. None of them know what is happening there. It is we that get there. It is we that know what is happening there, and they are not giving us consideration to let us hear from these people. So that is it.
Okay. Some operators have threatened service suspension.
What?
Okay. So earlier, you know, as someone who uses POS a lot to make withdrawals, right? And then sometimes there are issues of network failures. Now my question is this: how are network failures and transaction reversals affecting customer trust and business performance?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is one of the interesting topics so far. And why I say it's one of the interesting topics so far, does not only affect the agent, it affects everybody in Nigeria. It affects everyone. It affects everyone. And this is one of the problems we are having in this country. Policies are easy to formulate, but implementation of those policies properly are not well shaped, are not well articulated. How do I mean? One of the CBN policies says, if there is transactional issues and the money is not reversed within, if I'm not mistaken, within 48 hours, there is a certain penalty and there is a certain benefit. What I mean by penalty, there is a certain penalty that will be met on the company, while certain benefit will also goes to the owner of the money that is not resolved. There is a transaction at hand presently. A customer walked into one of our members to withdraw 26,000 naira. Since on the 28th of April 28th of May, since on the 28th of May, the money has not been reversed back to the agent, nor credited to the beneficiary. The money is still hanging till this morning. We don't know the whereabouts of the money. Let us now assume that an agent has 100,000 naira to operate. Out of 100,000 naira, every transaction above 5,000 naira or 10,000 naira, about 10,000 naira, federal government would deduct 5 naira, 50 naira. The bank will deduct their own charges too, and some other things. And out of this 100,000 naira, 26,000 naira is still hanging with one bank somewhere since on the 20. How will that agent break even? How will that agent break even? Mm-hmm. Transactional operation is one of the transactional issues are 70% problem the agent are facing. And all of these fintech, bank, or PSB, or microfinance that are rolling out these terminals, they are not considering, they are not empathy at all about the pains and the loss of this agent. They are not concerned, they are not bothered. Although there are some occasionally where there will be a transaction and it is resolved within a short while, we will acknowledge that. But a lot of transactions takes too long to be reconciled. In fact, some will even lead to police issues. Some will lead to fight. They will accuse the customer or our members, agents, that they've stolen their money. They just want to steal away their money. All sorts of things. A lot of embarrassment on the field when it comes to transaction failure. So, government, although, like I said, CBN is also trying in that area. It is improving. But once there is an issue, you will forget the best area. It is the issues that you focus on. So government need to do a lot in that transactional failure. There should be a strict penalty, or there should be a window. There should be a window for all the agents or we the aggregators, where any transactions that fail to be reconciled or reversed within 48 hours, this is the window you should channel this case to. Then they will look into it and come out with a solution. I think CBN need to work in that area too, to come up with a special window for us, the agent, to lodge our complaint that is beyond time to be resolved.
But I thought if you have complaints when it has to do with transfer and withdrawals, you send an email to the bank that the affected bank and copy the central bank in it.
Yes. There is a system of such. It's not even a mail. We have a WhatsApp group. Are you getting? Yes. You have a WhatsApp group. We also have the mail that you can route your complaints to. But at the first level of your complaint, you can't copy CBN. At the first level of your complaint, you cannot copy CBN. It is when the resolution is taking time beyond what is expected, then you can now initiate a mail to CBN. But my sister, even if you send a mail to CBN, in the next 2-3 weeks, you might not get a response. Not even you will not get a response. In the next 2-3 weeks, you won't get a response.
Wow.
That is the system we are finding ourselves. It will now become issue of pleading to the beneficiary or exercising patience if it is your own money that is hanging, that is having issue. You will now need to close down your shop. Okay, like I said, as at this morning, I still do a reminder to one of these companies for 26,000 naira, not yet resolved, since on the 28th of May. And if I should say, okay, it has gone beyond, and I copy CBN, in the next 3 months, there won't be response. Then who will now be our savior, or who should we run to for help? And this has led to so many loss of funds by our members. Because when you continue complaining on a particular transaction for so long, you get fed up, you get tired, and you forget the money. So that is Nigerian for you. Yes, there is a format, there is a mail that we need to copy to CBN. But how many will it be responded? How many is responded to?
Okay. What measures can regulators take to ensure a fair and sustainable operating environment for POS agents?
Yes, you see, the measure, CBN, the CBN is only trying to, the CBN and all the fintech, the banks and the microfinance, they're only trying to take law into their hands. Ideally, there is no structure there is no structure CBN can come up with, or the fintech or other major stakeholders. There is no structure they can come up with that can really help without inviting the concerns associations that are on the field. Let us know how this thing can be properly structured.
Okay.
The structure that works in fintech A is not the same structure that is applicable in fintech B. The structure that works in bank A, in fact, banks are even better off, maybe because they are bank. Their structure looks similar. They are fair in their structure, although operational wise they are poor. But structure wise they are still fair. But the fintech are the worst in terms of structure. Now, the structure should explain the role of what we call B aggregator, B super agent, B aggregator, B business development, BSD, business development, whatever. I've forgotten all the names. So there are a lot of names on one particular structure. So government need to come up, have a sitting. The CBN need to come up, have a sitting with the association, industry association. Let us come up with a policy, with a structure that will work for us in this sector. And the structure should be okay. For you to be an aggregator, there should not be exclusivity in aggregatorship. There should not be exclusivity in agents. Because even the banks, as we have the banks, if you walk into the banks today, you will see like 2, 3, 4 ATM cash center machine. If one machine is not working, the other one will work. If one is not working, the other one will. Out of the 4 ATM machine in a bank, at least 2 or 3 will work. The whole 4 cannot completely shut down. Why? The fact that they are from the same bank, the network on each of these POS, the network are different. Likewise, if agent is being exclusively restricted to one particular company, and the company network shut down, does it now mean that the agent will go to sleep, or the agent will close the shop for the day? The agent should also have the opportunity or the privilege to have like 1 or 2, 3 terminals from different from different companies, so that if one network fails, the other one can keep running. So government need to call us and we iron out all these things, and we come out with a blueprint. Then if it works, then the TBN will formulate it as a policy. Then if there is need to review it, to modify it, then they have the wisdom to do that.
Okay. Comrade Lukman, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us this morning.
You are welcome. Thank you very much.
What has become increasingly clear from our discussion is that the POS sector is no longer just a convenience service. It has become a critical pillar of Nigeria's financial inclusion journey. From urban business districts to rural communities, millions of Nigerians now depend on agency banking services for everyday financial transactions. But as the sector continues to expand, issues relating to regulation, sustainability, consumer protection, operational efficiency, and fair market practices must also be addressed, because financial inclusion is not simply about increasing access to financial services. It is about ensuring that those services remain reliable, secure, affordable, and beneficial to both operators and consumers. For our listeners this morning, the key takeaway is this: a stronger financial inclusion ecosystem requires collaboration. Sustainable growth requires responsible market practices, and the future of Nigeria's digital economy depends largely on building trust, transparency, and efficiency across the entire financial service value chain. If you're just joining us, you can catch highlights of this conversation and connect with us on social media. We are Trade FM live across all platforms, and that's Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. And with that, we begin to wrap up today's program. And that brings us to the end of today's edition. It has been an insightful and engaging morning of business intelligence, economic analysis, market updates, and thought-provoking conversations. Today we examined how geopolitical uncertainty in the Middle East is placing new pressures on higher education systems globally, and what institutions must do to build resilience in an increasingly unpredictable world. We also took a closer look at Nigeria's growing POS ecosystem, exploring the opportunities, challenges, and market realities shaping one of the country's most important drivers of financial inclusion. Beyond the discussions, today's program once again highlighted an important reality: whether it is education, technology, finance, entrepreneurship, or public policy, sustainable growth depends on preparation, innovation, adaptability, and informed decision making. Our appreciation goes to our guest, Assistant Professor Akinsheye Olatokunbo Aluko, and Comrade Odetunde Lukman, for sharing their expertise, experience, and valuable perspectives with us. We'd also like to appreciate the contributions of Olufemi Ojo, Urialake, Olaoluwakiton, Akimboro, and everyone working behind the scenes to make this program possible. And most importantly, thank you to our listeners across Lagos, across Nigeria, and across the world for choosing Trade FM as part of your morning routine. Remember, informed decisions create better outcomes, and staying informed remains one of the most valuable investments you can make. Remember, you can always continue the conversation with us across all our social media platforms. We are Trade FM live across all platforms, and that's Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and our YouTube channel. I am Splendor Ayewo. On behalf of the management and staff of Trade FM, have a productive, profitable, and successful day ahead. Good morning, and thank you for listening.